Hello and welcome to Just Pauses. I often feel that there is some kind of magic in the number 3. While the doctors instruct that medicines and meals have to be taken thrice a day, Stephen Covey, the famous American author and businessman, had stressed the power of 3 constants in life: change, choice, and principles. And the wise monkeys who had cautioned us against evil were 3 too, right? 3 must be a magical number, for it is no coincidence that good stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. And while giving a speech, it helps if we have just 3 points to focus on and convey. We remember better and the audience retains better. Many a slogans are made up of 3 words, and emphatically raising them thrice does the magic, just as hip hip hooray does. While Cinderella had 3 sisters, many other fairy tales too centered around 3 boons that were granted, or 3 friends, or 3 brothers, isn't it? Why not see what happens if we take small little pauses thrice a day? What say? Pause and think of 3 reasons to smile daily. Close your eyes and smile knowing that you have eyesight. Smile as you chew your lunch. In fact, there are 3 reasons to smile there. 1, that you can afford to buy or make food of your choice. 2nd, you can chew and digest food. And 3rd, you have teeth, appetite, and the precious gallbladder. Thrice a day, if you could breathe in gratefully, wouldn't that be so nice? It is no smaller joy if our lungs are working normally and we don't have to carry oxygen around with us in our backpack. Just thrice a day. Thrice a day, if you could look up at the sky and marvel at the discipline and regularity with which the sun rises, reaches its zenith, and then sets gracefully. No fuss, no laziness. Just thrice a day, if we could remember 3 loved ones of ours who have departed from this world and shed a few tears. And thrice a day, if we could say what we wish to say to those who are still there in our lives. Surely don't want to leave anything undone, unsaid, right? I'm reminded here of the beautiful story penned by the famous Russian writer Leo Tolstoy in 1908. I just love this story. The story is titled The 3 Questions and is a part of the collection What Men Live By and Other Tales. The story goes thus. Once there lived a king who felt that if he always knew the right time to begin everything, if he knew who were the right people to be with and whom to avoid, and above all, if he always knew what was the most important thing to do, he would never fail in anything he might undertake. He announced a reward for anyone who could answer these 3 questions correctly for him. What was the right time for every action? Who were the most necessary people? And how he might know what was the most important thing to do. Many learned men came to the king and attempted to answer the 3 questions, but the king was not satisfied. Finally, the king decided that he needed to ask a wise sage in a nearby village. The king knew that the hermit met only the common people, and so the king disguised himself as a peasant and left his guards behind to see the hermit. The hermit was digging flower beds when the king arrived. The king addressed him respectfully and posed his questions to him. Seeing the king, the hermit greeted him briefly, but he went on digging. After some time, finding that the hermit was breathing rather heavily, the king offered to dig for him. The hermit agreed, but he didn't say a word to the king. After digging for some time, the king again asked his questions. And before the hermit could answer, a man emerged from the woods. He was bleeding from a terrible stomach wound. The king tended to him, washed the wound as best as he could, and bandaged it with a towel the hermit had. He brought water for him to drink, and then he and the hermit carried the wounded man inside the hut. The man fell asleep, and so did the king, who was tired by then. Next morning, the wounded man was doing better. "Forgive me," he said, when he saw that the king was awake and was looking at him. The man confessed that he knew who the king was, and that because the king had executed his brother and seized his property, that he had come to kill the king. I knew you were here, all by yourself, and I had decided to kill you on your way back. But the day passed and you did not return. So I came out from my hiding to find you, and your bodyguards saw me and they wounded me. I escaped from them, but I could have bled to death had you not dressed my wound, the man said, folding his hands in gratitude. After the man asked for forgiveness and went on his way, the king asked the hermit again for his answers, and the hermit responded that all of his questions had just been answered. The king looked at him quizzically, and the wise sage smiled and replied, "Do you not see? If you had not pitied my weakness yesterday and had not dug these flower beds for me, but had returned to your palace when I was not responding to your questions, that man would have attacked you on your way and you would have been dead. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, when that man ran to us, the most important time was when you were attending to him, for if you had not sewn his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important business. So remember, there is only one time that is important: now. It is the most important time because it is the only time when we have any power. The most necessary person is the one with whom you are, for every person comes before us at a time for some reason. And the most important thing to do is to do that person good, because for that purpose alone a given person is sent at a given moment. The story ends here. Beautiful, isn't it? Quite a bit to pause and reflect over. Aha, the power of three. We may have nothing in common with each other, but the lives of billions of us are wrapped around the past, the present, and the future, even as all our karma remains wrapped around earth, heaven, and hell. Let us usher the magic of three in our lives by taking a pause at least thrice a day and occasionally reflecting over the three questions of the king and the three answers of the wise hermit. Thank you.